Whiteout at the White House, a snowstorm for the record books in the nation's capital. Millions snowed in along the eastern seaboard, and there could be another storm on the way. Washed out, more extreme weather in the American West, too much rain. Center stage, what will Sarah Palin say tonight when she speaks to a group that's been shaking up American politics? And let the games begin. Vancouver, ready for its Olympic close-up.
This is NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt, reporting tonight from Vancouver.
The blizzard of 2010, it's the snowstorm people along the East Coast will remember for a long time to come. Tonight, it is one for the record books. Good evening, everyone. Tonight from Vancouver, where we're getting set to kick off our coverage of the 2010 Winter Olympics, now just 6 days away. Tonight, our big story is snow. Here, where they could use it, there is not enough. While along the U.S. mid-Atlantic coast, there is too much of it after a ferocious, paralyzing blizzard. Some 30 million people from Ohio eastward were in the path of this storm. Tonight, many of them are buried in snow. Baltimore, more than 26 inches tonight, the second biggest snowstorm ever for that city. Pittsburgh, just over 21 inches. And in Washington, D.C., 24 inches, close to a record. Washington is where we begin our coverage tonight with NBC's Mike Vaccaro at the White House in a virtual whiteout. Mike?
Lester, good evening. In the last few minutes, it has stopped snowing here at the White House in downtown Washington, finally. But after 30 hours of at times very heavy snow, it was a storm that has left a city crippled in its wake. Usually, the gridlock is political, but today, snow is paralyzing the city. The snowfall measuring 2 feet downtown, much deeper beyond the monuments. No flights in or out of all 3 major airports. Passenger train service suspended. No city buses to ride, and metro trains stayed underground. Roads were near impassable as officials urged drivers to stay home and make way for plows and emergency vehicles.
Pregnant people needing to go to the hospital. They're getting a little antsy. They feel they can't go by themselves, so they call 911 for an ambulance.
Even the mailman couldn't make his appointed rounds. Deliveries called off. Dubbed the snowpocalypse as the storm approached, the biggest punch came overnight when the snow fell at 3 inches an hour, a pace that continued all day.
Today it was all about safety.
The wet, heavy snow piled up on trees, snapping limbs and bringing down power lines, leaving 200,000 customers without electricity at midday. At Dulles Airport, an airplane hangar partially collapsed, and in the city, a 100-year-old neighborhood church was demolished by the weight of the snow. At the White House, the president kept a date for a speech at a nearby hotel, and the Chicago native acknowledged the weather.
Snowmageddon here in D.C. I noticed somebody had Californians for Obama, and I was thinking, you guys are not used to this.
His motorcade halting when a branch suddenly fell on an SUV filled with photographers. The president had already safely passed by. The storm threatens to be the biggest ever in D.C. history, eclipsing the 28 inches that fell in 1922 during the historic Knickerbocker storm, when the roof of a theater collapsed, killing 98 people.
24 inches here at Connecticut and Fessenden.
This is the second major storm of the season here. And some are making the best of it, using Facebook to meet up at DuPont Circle for a snowball showdown. Others wonder what's coming next.
Unfortunately, there's another storm coming our way for late Tuesday and Wednesday, and we don't want to hear about that.
And Lester, this city will wake up tomorrow and start to dig out. The mayor here, Mayor Fenty, says that he promises everything will be back to business as usual on Monday, but many people are skeptical. Lester?
Mike Vaccaro, thanks for some remarkable pictures from Washington. You didn't have to live in the nation's capital, though, to feel the full brunt of the storm. NBC's Ron Allen has more on some of the other places that got hit hard.
Throughout the mid-Atlantic region, snow slamming weekend plans.
People are hunkering down, they're staying inside and just waiting for this massive blizzard to pass.
Falling at 2 to 3 inches every hour, burying everything in sight.
I felt like a midget when I was walking out here. It was like up to my knees.
So we're in Wonderland tonight. It feels like Christmas, but it's not.
Maryland, where some small towns measured up to 40 inches of snow, declared a state of emergency. and issued a blunt warning to motorists.
No one with an ounce of common sense should be going out on the roads today.
Hundreds of wrecks reported in the region, but just 2 fatalities. In Pennsylvania, another state of emergency. Philadelphia's snow removal crews worked more than 24 hours straight.
They are working very hard, over 600 personnel, 350 pieces of equipment from a number of agencies across the city government.
And in New Jersey, some counties imposed travel restrictions, emergency vehicles only on the roads. Along the shore, the winds cranked up as the snow fell down.
I'm getting sustained wind gusts of 35 miles an hour, but gusts 45 miles an hour at times, and the snow is blowing, and certainly the visibility has been reduced.
We have got exactly 30 inches mid-afternoon.
NBC's Tom Costello shared the latest from suburban Maryland through an internet Skype connection.
We lost all of our heat and our power at about 1 in the morning. It came back at 1 in the afternoon. By that point, it had dropped below 60 inside the house.
However, some utilities warned it may take days to restore power. And as this storm for the ages moves on, there's another winter wallop in the forecast for the region. Frigid below normal temperatures and yet more snow next week. Ron Allen, NBC News, New York.
How much more snow can we expect? Let's get the latest in the Weather Channel's Paul Goodlow in the nation's capital. Paul?
And Lester, this was definitely one of the top 5 snowiest snowstorms here in D.C. In fact, 2 feet of snow. Take a look at what that actually looks like if you're trying to perhaps dig out of the sidewalks, which people will be doing as the sun comes up tomorrow. Clear skies right now, but again, the question is the forecast. Right now, we're watching a storm in California bring some concerns for mudslides there. That continues to push east and join up with another storm. And by Monday, that is bringing some snow to the northern Mississippi Valley and some rain to the south. By Tuesday, it's starting to bring some more snow across the Great Lakes, more rain in the southeast. And then by Wednesday, we could see more heavy snow. The mid-Atlantic, the northeast, New England. So once again, as we head towards the middle of next week, we could see more concerns and perhaps more scenes like this, perhaps near record or record-setting snow falling across D.C. to Philly, back up to New York City, maybe even Boston with this next snowstorm coming our way. So it looks like the winter of 2010 continues to be a very snowy one, especially here, the mid-Atlantic and the Northeast. Lester?
Paul Goodlow, thanks very much. We have more now on that extreme weather you just mentioned in the west, the fierce rain, and now the danger from too much mud. With the latest, here's NBC's Chris Jansing.
Residents say it seemed to happen in an instant. A mile-long torrent of mud, rocks, and trees came barreling down a collapsing hillside in suburban Los Angeles overnight, trapping people in their homes. It was just next. Chris Jansing, NBC News, Los Angeles.
And as we mentioned at the top of this newscast, weather is making big news here in Vancouver, too, where tonight Olympic organizers may be looking toward the U.S. East Coast with, as hard as it is to believe, a little snow envy. The temperatures here today reached into the low 50s. Not good news for those Olympic sports that depend on snow. NBC's Ron Mott is here to tell us more about what they're going to do about it.
Hi, Lester. Welcome to town. It has been unseasonably warm here in Vancouver for more than a month now. And while the weather has added to the workload, officials today reiterated the games will go on as planned, where planned. White-capped mountains as far as the eye can see, with plenty of fluffy powder on the slopes.
It's amazing. It's the best it's been in a long time.
At Whistler, 80 miles north of Vancouver and site of alpine skiing set to start next weekend, the snowpack is almost 9 feet deep, near perfect conditions. But closer to town, cherry blossoms have awakened because of a balmy and wet January, an average of nearly 40 degrees. Those temperatures also robbed Cypress Mountain, another Olympic venue across the harbor, of its snow base, down to just 36 inches.
The amount of snow this year, the amount of natural snow, is about 1/2 of what it was this time last year.
To replace what's been lost there, extreme measures, moving mountains of snow for the extreme sports on the way, freestyle skiing and snowboarding. Today, organizers announced training runs for athletes will be limited to reduce wear.
We've been pushing cats 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to push what they're calling the largest snowball on Earth down this mountain.
Helicopters have scooped more than 20 tons of snow from nearby peaks to help shape the race courses. Truck convoys have also been hauling and dumping, and straw bales, which will be topped with freshly harvested snow, are used as filler. The game's top local official toured the work by air this week and emerged pleased.
It looks good. The staff have worked hard. If you had been up there, I've been there 3 times in the last week, and the amount of snow that's been moved by the crew up there it's extraordinary what they've been able to do.
The Vancouver Organizing Committee won't say exactly how much this all-out effort cost, but Lester, early estimates are running well into the 6 figures.
My guess is there are some folks on the East Coast who will be happy to contribute to the snow effort here tonight. Ron, thank you. As Nightly News continues this Saturday, the drama of those Americans behind bars in Haiti and what they told NBC News today in a note scribbled in their jail cell. And later, Bring It On here in Vancouver, counting down to a big debut on the world stage. We're back now with news from Haiti and what some of those Americans under arrest for kidnapping are saying tonight to us from their jail cell in Port-au-Prince in a scribbled note. NBC's Kerry Sanders joins us now from Haiti with the latest developments. Kerry, good evening.
Well, good evening, Lester. I visited the 10 missionaries in jail today, and the Haitian guards let us go right up to the bars and talk to them as long as we didn't have cameras this time. So we chatted with them. I was with an NBC producer. We chatted for about 10 minutes, and during our conversation, one of those slipped a revealing note to NBC producer Don Wood. The note, scribbled on a scrap of paper, says, "We fear for our lives here in Haiti. There is corruption and extortion." Then this, Laura wants to control. We believe lying. We're afraid. Laura would be Laura Silsby, the spokesperson for the jailed Americans. She organized the trip to Haiti and initially told government officials. The note has 8 of the 10 missionaries' names listed. Missing are Laura Silsby and her close aide Carissa Coulter. We contacted Laura Silsby's sister Kim Barton. She says, "I don't know what to say." We spoke to the family member of another name that is listed. They told us they have known for some time in Idaho about division within the group. Lester?
Kerry, I know when they were first taken into custody that U.S. representatives from the embassy were being allowed visits. Have those continued or have they been halted?
They have had consular services. Even when they were in court, they have been advised on perhaps hiring a lawyer. They decided not to hire the lawyer that the consulate suggested they go with. They hired Edwin Koch, and we're hearing tonight on Monday the 10 may fire him and hire another attorney from the United States, Lester.
Extraordinary developments in this story. Kerry, thank you very much. More than 250,000 Toyota Prius owners wondering what to do about their potentially faulty brakes are about to find out. Last night, Toyota told dealers it has a fix-it plan and will announce details early next week. The company has already said it believes the problem is a glitch in the car's software. We'll take a break. When we come back on this Saturday edition of Nightly News, Sarah Palin's big night at a gathering that's getting a lot of attention. We're back now with a busy Saturday on the political front. While the snowstorm shut down most of Washington, the Democratic National Committee pressed on with its annual winter gathering. And President Obama showed up to rally his party after some recent defeats and disappointments.
We can't return to the dereliction of duty that helped deliver this recession. We know that to do so would be to put at risk our jobs, our families, our businesses, and our future. America can't afford to wait. And we can't look backwards.
While in Nashville, another political gathering with a marquee name. It's the National Tea Party Convention, a coming together of conservative groups who have been holding rallies across the nation. As NBC's Andrea Mitchell reports, it's another big moment for Sarah Palin.
The former president of the United States.
They're angry, they're frustrated, and they want to send a message to Washington. Gathered in Nashville, hundreds of Tea Party activists and followers of the movement's de facto leader, Sarah Palin.
I like that she's real, that she seems authentic.
Love her perspective on the government.
I'm very enchanted with Sarah Palin. I think she speaks the truth.
Palin is getting $100,000 to speak here, but says she'll plow the fee back into the movement.
Oh, you betcha I'm going to be there. I'm going to speak there because there are people traveling from many miles away to hear what that Tea Party movement is all about and what that message is that should be received by our politicians in Washington.
All adding to the multimedia magic of Palin Inc. The book tour, Facebook messages, tweets, and without leaving her Wasilla kitchen, appearances on Fox TV. But the high ticket price to attend the Nashville meeting, $549, caused two other conservative speakers, Congresswoman Michelle Bachmann and Marsha Blackburn, to cancel.
The problem, though, I think starts off calling it a national Tea Party convention when a lot of Tea Party activists from around the country aren't going to be there, can't afford to go, and really don't have anything to do with it.
But organizers are making plans to force the Republican Party to the right, launching a political action committee to support more conservative candidates.
Our government has got to stop not listening to us. People are angry about that. This is a representative government. The majority today is not being heard.
They've already changed history in Massachusetts, helping to propel Scott Brown to the Senate. And the Tea Party is having a big impact in Florida and Texas, where Sarah Palin will campaign tomorrow. The only question is whether a group of rebels against the party system can organize well enough to take it over. Andrea Mitchell, NBC News, Washington.
A program note, national politics and the economy are the focus on this week's Meet the Press. Among David Gregory's guests are former Treasury Secretary Henry Paulson and Alan Greenspan, former chairman of the Federal Reserve. That's tomorrow morning on Meet the Press. There is videotape just out tonight of a deadly mid-air collision near Boulder, Colorado. Early reports say one aircraft was a small plane, the other was a glider. Our Denver affiliate is reporting 5 people are dead. And when we come back, this city getting ready to sparkle for all the world to see. Some of the beautiful high country in British Columbia. That's Whistler, where there is plenty of snow and where many of the alpine events will take place in the upcoming Olympics. Vancouver lies just a 3 hours drive north of Seattle and a mere 30 miles from the U.S. border. And while it has a lot in common with the American Pacific Northwest, Vancouver sees the Olympics as its chance to remind a global audience that their city is a world apart. Here's NBC's Donna Friesen.
From the mountains to the ocean, Vancouver's natural beauty is a dazzling setting for the Winter Olympics. It's Canada's third largest city, home to 2.1 million people, and is routinely ranked as one of the world's most livable cities. The challenge is to make the Games sparkle as much as Vancouver does.
We have this sort of positive anxiety, nervous tension feeling, and the city's got a bit of a smile on its face, and you know, it feels good.
Several downtown areas have been blocked off for street parties, and 25,000 volunteers are already out in force.
Just go down and you'll get it there.
Helping guide some of the estimated 250,000 visitors expected to descend on the city.
We're used to having lots of tourists, and we like to celebrate our city, but this is at a scale that has never been done before, so we're really going to have to step up.
Almost $2 billion has been spent on infrastructure, including a new rail line from the airport to downtown. 9 of the venues are either downtown or not far away, including BC Place, where the opening and closing ceremonies will be held, and in Richmond, where there's a stunning new speed skating oval. Overlooking Vancouver is Cypress. That's where the snowboarding will be, once they've trucked in enough snow. And 90 minutes up a newly widened, spectacular road they call the Sea to Sky Highway is Whistler, home of the alpine ski events and a new track for bobsled, luge, and skeleton that the athletes are already calling the fastest in the world. And if sales of Olympic merchandise are any measure, people are getting into the spirit.
It has been phenomenal. We've had sales of more than 4 times more than what we expected.
And the hottest items at these Olympics are these red mittens. But you know what? It's so warm here, you don't really need them.
For the first time in Olympic history, Indigenous people, Canada's First Nations people, are full partners.
We had over 200 initiatives that we've included ourselves in these games,
including the medals designed by an Aboriginal artist. For some, the cheering has already begun.
What does it say? Korean team fighting.
Korea?
Yeah.
Go Korea?
Yeah.
Is this going to be the best Winter Olympics ever, do you think?
Positively, yes.
The city is ready to welcome the world. Donna Friesen, NBC News, Vancouver.
And we are happy to be here. That's NBC Nightly News for this Saturday. I'm Lester Holt reporting from Vancouver. I'll see you tomorrow morning on Today, then right back here tomorrow evening. Good night, everyone.
NBC Nightly News with Brian Williams, where the world unfolds nightly.